Doctor, what's happening in there? She was fine this morning.
Mr. Park, please, we are doing everything we can.
Maya, please stay strong.
Seoul, this city will humble you, I swear. But mama needs that surgeries, so we keep pushing.
Baby, don't worry about me. Your mama is strong. Strong? What? You raised me by yourself. Now it's my turn. I'm going to find the money. Hold on. Did you say $200,000? Yes, Ms. Johnson. Listen, I'm not some kind of experiment, okay?
The glass shattered against the hospital wall. Daniel Park didn't even remember throwing the water glass. 1 second it had been in his hand, the next it exploded into pieces across the white floor. Mr. Park, you need to calm down, a nurse said carefully. I am calm, Daniel snapped, though his voice shook. Behind the hospital doors, Maya Johnson screamed. The sound cut through him like a blade. Another doctor rushed past, pushing the doors open just long enough for Daniel to see the chaos inside. Bright lights, machines beeping, nurses moving quickly, and Maya gripping the bed rails, her face twisted in pain. Then the doors slammed shut again. Daniel ran both hands through his hair. This wasn't supposed to happen, he muttered. The doctor beside him spoke gently. Early labor can happen sometimes. But she's strong. The baby is strong too. Daniel looked up sharply. You're sure? We're doing everything we can. Another scream came from inside. Daniel closed his eyes. 3 words echoed in his head. This is my fault. Because if he had never made that decision months ago, Maya wouldn't be here right now. The woman risking her life to bring his child into the world wasn't his wife. She wasn't even his girlfriend. She was supposed to be just a surrogate. Just a contract. Just a professional arrangement. But nothing about this situation felt professional anymore. Daniel leaned against the wall and whispered quietly to himself. Please be okay, Maya. And as the sounds of the delivery room continued behind those doors, his mind drifted back to the moment everything began. 6 months earlier. Maya Johnson had never imagined that one phone call would change her life. She was standing in a tiny convenience store in Seoul, holding a cup of instant ramen while staring at the total on the cashier screen. 7,201, the cashier said. Maya sighed and pulled out her wallet. 2 bills. That was all she had left until payday. She handed the money over and forced a small smile. Thank you. The cashier nodded politely, but Maya could feel the familiar curious stares from 2 teenagers sitting near the window. She had gotten used to it by now. Being a black woman in Seoul still attracted attention. Sometimes it was friendly curiosity. Sometimes it was uncomfortable. Sometimes people simply whispered. But Maya had learned to ignore it. She grabbed her ramen and walked outside into the chilly evening air. The neon lights of the street flickered above her as she sat on a small bench and opened her phone. A message notification appeared. It was from her mother back in Atlanta. Maya opened it quickly. Baby, the hospital called again today. They said we need to discuss the surgery soon. Maya's chest tightened. Her mother had been diagnosed with a heart condition 2 months earlier. The surgery would save her life. But the cost was enormous. Even with insurance. Maya typed quickly. Don't worry, Mom. I'm figuring it out. Her mother responded almost instantly. You don't have to carry everything alone. Maya stared at the message. If only that were true. She worked 2 jobs in Seoul. Teaching English during the day. Working at a cafe at night. But it still wasn't enough. The surgery alone would cost more than she made in an entire year. Maya rubbed her temples and whispered quietly. There has to be another way. As if the universe had been listening, her phone buzzed again. This time it was an unfamiliar number. She hesitated before answering. Hello. A calm professional voice spoke. Hello, is this Ms. Maya Johnson? Yes, speaking. My name is Ji-hyun. I'm calling from Seoul Family Fertility Agency. Maya frowned. I think you have the wrong number. Actually, we don't, the woman replied. You were recommended to us. For what? There was a brief pause. For a surrogacy opportunity. Maya blinked. I'm sorry. What? Our client is a very wealthy individual searching for a surrogate mother. Your profile was suggested by someone who knows you. Maya let out a short laugh. Yeah, I think someone's playing a prank. But the woman's voice remained calm. The compensation would be the equivalent of $200,000. Maya stopped breathing. The street noise around her faded. 200,000? Yes. Maya stood slowly. Her heart started racing. That's impossible. It's very real, Jihyun replied. Maya walked down the street in silence. Her mind spun. $200,000. That was more than enough for her mother's surgery. More than enough to change everything. But the idea itself felt overwhelming. You would carry the child of a private client, Jihyun continued. All medical expenses covered. Housing provided if necessary. Maya finally asked the question sitting heavily in her chest. Who is the client? There was another pause. I'm afraid his identity is confidential until the interview. Maya stopped walking. Interview? Yes. Our client would like to meet potential candidates personally. Maya leaned against a streetlight. This was insane. It had to be some kind of mistake. But $200,000. Her mother's face appeared in her mind. The hospital bed. The worried smile she always tried to hide. Maya swallowed hard. When is the interview? She asked quietly. Tomorrow afternoon. Maya laughed nervously. Tomorrow. Yes. Our client doesn't like waiting. Maya looked up at the glowing city skyline. Seoul had already changed her life in so many unexpected ways. Maybe this was just another one. Or maybe it was the beginning of something far bigger than she could imagine. All right, she said finally. I'll come. She had no idea that the man she was about to meet would change her life forever. The next afternoon, Maya stood in front of the tallest building she had ever seen up close. Glass walls reflected the bright Seoul skyline, and the company logo at the top shimmered like polished steel. Park Global Technologies. Even Maya, who didn't follow the business world much, recognized the name. This can't be real, she whispered under her breath. Inside the lobby, everything was silent and immaculate. Marble floors stretched across the space, and a massive digital screen displayed the company's latest innovations. Maya felt suddenly underdressed in her simple navy dress. A receptionist smiled politely. Good afternoon. How may I help you? I'm here for an appointment with the fertility agency. The receptionist immediately nodded. Ah, Ms. Johnson. They are expecting you. Maya blinked. They know my name? Yes. The woman pressed a button. A moment later, a tall woman in a gray suit approached. Ms. Johnson? She asked. Yes. Please follow me. They entered a private elevator. As the doors closed, Maya's stomach tightened. Can I ask something? Maya said. The woman nodded. Of course. Who exactly is the client? The woman hesitated for a brief moment. You'll meet him in a few minutes. The elevator doors opened. They stepped into a quiet hallway with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. At the end of the hallway stood large wooden doors. The woman turned to Maya. Good luck, she said gently. Then she opened the doors. Maya walked in, and immediately felt the air change. The office was enormous, minimalist, elegant, and standing near the window with his back turned was a man in a dark suit. The woman closed the doors behind Maya, leaving them alone. The man slowly turned around. Maya froze. She had seen his face before. On magazine covers. On news articles. Daniel Park. The billionaire CEO of Park Global Technologies. Her mouth went dry. You're a him, she said softly. Daniel studied her quietly. His expression was calm, but his eyes carried a deep tiredness. Yes, he said. His voice was lower than she expected. Maya laughed nervously. So, this is real? Yes. She crossed her arms. I have a question. Go ahead. Why me? Daniel didn't answer immediately. Instead, he walked toward a table and picked up a small folder. Please sit. Maya sat carefully across from him. Daniel opened the folder. Your profile was recommended by one of our agency consultants. They described you as responsible, healthy, and emotionally stable. Maya raised an eyebrow. Emotionally stable? Daniel's lips twitched slightly. That's what they wrote. Maya leaned forward. That still doesn't answer my question. Daniel looked directly at her. I'm not interested in someone who sees this as just a business deal. Maya frowned. But it is a business deal. Daniel shook his head slowly. No. His voice became quieter. It's about my child. The seriousness in his tone made Maya sit back. Daniel continued. My wife died 2 years ago. The room suddenly felt heavier. She was pregnant at the time, he added. Maya's expression softened. I'm sorry. Daniel nodded once. She always wanted children. Before she passed, she made me promise something. Maya listened closely. She asked me not to give up on becoming a father. He looked down at the folder for a moment. For 2 years I ignored that promise. Silence filled the room. Then Maya spoke gently. So why now? Daniel closed the folder. Because grief doesn't disappear. But life still moves forward. He leaned back in his chair. I want to honor her wish. Maya studied him carefully. He didn't look like the arrogant billionaire she expected. He looked like a man who had lost something precious. Still, one question remained. And why a surrogate? Daniel answered calmly. Because I'm not ready for another relationship. Maya nodded slowly. That makes sense. Daniel leaned forward slightly. May I ask you something? Sure. Why did you agree to come here? Maya hesitated. She could lie. She could give a polished answer like the other candidates probably did. But instead, she told the truth. My mother is sick. Daniel listened quietly. She needs heart surgery, Maya continued. And the bills are a lot. Daniel didn't interrupt. I love my mom, Maya said softly. She raised me by herself. If this opportunity helps save her life, I'd do almost anything. Daniel watched her carefully. You understand the emotional responsibility of surrogacy? Yes. And the legal contract? Yes. And the fact that the child will be mine? Maya nodded. I understand. Daniel leaned back again. Then he asked a question she didn't expect. What do you think a child needs the most? Maya blinked. That's random. Answer it. Maya thought for a moment. Then she shrugged. Love. Daniel waited. Not money, Maya continued. Not fancy schools. Those things are nice, but they're not what makes someone feel safe. Daniel's eyes narrowed slightly. What does? Maya looked straight at him. Feeling wanted. Silence filled the office. For the first time since she entered the room, Daniel smiled. It was small, but real. I see, he said quietly. Maya suddenly felt nervous. Did I say something wrong? Daniel shook his head. No. He closed the folder and stood up. Thank you for coming today, Ms. Johnson. Maya stood too. So, what happens now? Daniel walked toward the window. You'll hear from the agency. That's it. Yes. Maya sighed. Well, thanks for the interview. She turned and started walking toward the door. But before she reached it, Daniel spoke again. Ms. Johnson. She stopped and looked back. Yes. Daniel held her gaze for a moment. Your answer earlier. What about it? About children needing love. Maya nodded. I meant it. Daniel's voice was almost thoughtful. That's why I chose you. Maya blinked. Wait, what? Daniel spoke calmly. You're the surrogate. Her brain struggled to process the words. You decided already? Yes. But there were other candidates, right? There were. Maya stared at him. You didn't even interview them? Daniel walked past her toward the door. I didn't need to. Then he opened the door and said something that made Maya's heart race. Welcome to the most unusual partnership of your life. 3 weeks later, Maya sat on the edge of a hospital bed staring at the ultrasound screen. The room was dim except for the soft glow of the monitor. A small heartbeat pulsed rhythmically through the speakers. Thump, thump, thump. The doctor smiled warmly. Congratulations. The embryo transfer was successful. Maya exhaled slowly. So, I'm really pregnant. Yes, the doctor said. Everything looks healthy. Maya looked back at the screen. A tiny shape flickered in black and white. It didn't look like much yet, but somehow, it already felt real. The door opened quietly. Daniel walked in. He had come directly from a business meeting, still wearing his dark suit and tie. Am I late? He asked. The doctor shook her head. Perfect timing. Daniel stepped closer. Maya glanced at him. You might want to look at the screen, she said. Daniel turned his attention to the monitor. The doctor pointed. There. Daniel leaned slightly closer. The heartbeat echoed again through the room. Thump, thump, thump. For a moment, Daniel said nothing. His face didn't change. But Maya noticed something subtle. His shoulders relaxed. That's my child, he said quietly. The doctor nodded. Yes. Maya watched his reaction carefully. Pretty amazing, right? She said. Daniel kept staring at the screen. Yes, he murmured. Then he asked the doctor several detailed medical questions. Heart rate, development timeline, possible complications. By the time the appointment ended, Maya felt exhausted. Pregnancy hormones were already starting to hit her harder than expected. Outside the clinic, Daniel stopped beside his car. I'll have my driver take you home. Maya shook her head. I can take the subway. Daniel frowned. You're pregnant. I know. You shouldn't be standing on crowded trains. Maya crossed her arms. Daniel, women have been pregnant for thousands of years without billionaire drivers. Daniel sighed. You're stubborn. You're controlling. They stared at each other for a moment. Then Maya suddenly laughed. Relax. I'll take the car. Daniel opened the door for her. As the driver pulled away, silence filled the vehicle. Finally Maya spoke. So, how do you feel? Daniel glanced at her. About what? About becoming a father. Daniel looked out the window. I don't know yet. That's honest. What about you? Maya smiled faintly. Well, I'm the one carrying the baby. I think I'm allowed to feel excited. Daniel nodded slowly. You are. Over the next few weeks, their arrangement began to shift in small, unexpected ways. At first, Daniel only attended major medical appointments. But gradually he started showing up more often. Sometimes he brought food. Sometimes he asked Maya how she was feeling. One evening Maya opened the door to her apartment and found Daniel standing there holding several grocery bags. She raised an eyebrow. Are you lost? No. Then why are you here? Daniel walked inside and placed the bags on the kitchen counter. Pregnant women need proper nutrition. Maya looked inside the bags. Seaweed soup. Fresh fruit. Vegetables. Is this Korean pregnancy food or something? She asked. Yes. Maya leaned against the counter. You didn't have to do this. Daniel shrugged. I wanted to. She studied him carefully. You're very different outside the office. How so? You're less robotic. Daniel actually chuckled. That's a new desk. That's a new description. Maya grabbed an apple. You know what I mean. Daniel watched her for a moment. You're different too. Different how? Most people treat me like a walking bank account. Maya snorted. Well, you are a billionaire. Daniel smiled faintly. True. Their conversations started lasting longer. Sometimes Daniel stayed for tea. Sometimes they talked about their childhoods. Maya told him stories about Atlanta, her loud family gatherings, her mother's cooking, her neighborhood friends. Daniel listened quietly. You miss home, he said one night. Sometimes, Maya admitted. But Seoul has grown on me. What made you stay? Maya thought about it. Adventure. Daniel nodded slowly. He understood that feeling more than he expected. One rainy evening Maya suddenly felt dizzy while standing in her kitchen. She grabbed the counter. Daniel happened to be visiting that night. He immediately noticed. Maya. I'm fine, she said. But her voice sounded weak. Daniel walked over quickly. You're not fine. I just stood up too fast. Daniel was already grabbing his phone. I'm calling the doctor. Maya rolled her eyes. Daniel, it's pregnancy. Not a heart attack. Still, he didn't relax until the doctor confirmed it was normal. Later that night, Maya noticed something. Daniel kept glancing at her. You're hovering, she said. I'm observing. You're hovering. Daniel sighed. Maybe I am. Maya sat on the couch and studied him. You're worried. Yes. Why? Daniel hesitated. Then he spoke quietly. My wife collapsed during her pregnancy. The room went silent. She had complications we didn't know about, he continued. The doctors tried everything. Maya felt her chest tighten. I'm sorry. Daniel looked down. I wasn't there when it happened. I was in another country closing a business deal. Maya spoke gently. That wasn't your fault. Daniel didn't respond. The guilt was still heavy in his eyes. After that conversation, something shifted between them. Their relationship stopped feeling like a contract, and started feeling more human. But the real storm arrived 2 months later. Daniel's family found out about Maya, and they were not happy. One afternoon Daniel received a call from his mother. Her voice was cold. Come home. When Daniel arrived at the Park family estate, the entire family was waiting. His mother sat at the head of the table. We heard about the surrogate, she said. Daniel remained calm. Yes. His older uncle spoke next. You chose a foreign woman? Daniel nodded. Yes. His mother's voice hardened. This is unacceptable. Daniel's eyes narrowed. She is carrying my child. That doesn't mean she becomes part of this family, his mother replied sharply. Daniel leaned forward. She never asked to be. His uncle scoffed. Then make sure she understands her place. Daniel stood slowly. And what place is that? His mother's answer was immediate. The one where she disappears after the baby is born. Daniel's jaw tightened. But the real problem wasn't what his family said. It was what Maya overheard later that evening. Because Daniel didn't realize his mother had already paid Maya a visit. And the conversation they had would change everything. Maya opened her apartment door expecting to see Daniel. Instead, an older woman stood there. Elegant. Perfect posture. Expensive coat. Sharp eyes that immediately scanned Maya from head to toe. You must be Maya Johnson, the woman said calmly. Maya blinked. Yes. And you are? I'm Daniel's mother. The air in the hallway suddenly felt colder. Maya stepped aside politely. Please come in. Mrs. Park entered the apartment slowly, looking around as if inspecting every corner. It's modest, she said. Maya folded her arms. I work 2 jobs. Modest is what I can afford. Mrs. Park sat down without asking. I'll be direct, she said. I respect that, Maya replied. Mrs. Park placed a small envelope on the table. I know about the contract. Maya didn't touch the envelope. Then you know why I'm doing this. Yes, Mrs. Park said. Money. Maya's jaw tightened. My mother needs surgery. That's unfortunate, Mrs. Park replied flatly. Maya inhaled slowly, trying to stay calm. Mrs. Park continued speaking. You will carry the baby. After the birth, you will leave. Maya frowned. That's already in the legal agreement. Mrs. Park shook her head slightly. No. I mean you will leave Seoul. Maya blinked. What? You will have no contact with my grandson. Maya stared at her. Your grandson? Yes. You're already claiming the baby? Mrs. Park's expression remained cold. This child belongs to the Park family. Maya finally picked up the envelope. Inside was a check. Her eyes widened. The number was far larger than the original payment. This is double the contract amount, Maya whispered. Mrs. Park nodded. Take it. Maya slowly set the check back on the table. No. Mrs. Park's eyes narrowed. You should reconsider. I already have, Maya replied. You're making a mistake. No, Maya said quietly. I'm setting a boundary. Mrs. Park leaned forward slightly. You're just the surrogate. Maya met her gaze without fear. I know exactly what I am. And what is that? A woman keeping her word. Mrs. Park's voice hardened. You're becoming emotional. Maya shook her head. No. I'm becoming honest. Mrs. Park stood up. You're forgetting your position. Maya stood too. No, Mrs. Park. I think you are. The two women stared at each other. Then Maya said something that surprised even herself. I'm not trying to become part of your family. Mrs. Park crossed her arms. Good. But I will not pretend this baby doesn't exist after 9 months of carrying him. Mrs. Park's voice dropped lower. You don't get to decide that. Maya opened the door. I think you should leave now. Mrs. Park paused at the doorway. Before leaving, she turned back once more. You're underestimating how powerful my family is. Maya answered calmly. And you're underestimating how stubborn I am. The door closed. Maya leaned against it, her heart pounding. She knew that conversation would create problems. What she didn't know was that Daniel had heard about the meeting almost immediately. And he was furious. That night, Daniel stormed into her apartment. Maya, he said breathlessly. You didn't tell me my mother visited. Maya crossed her arms. I didn't want to start a war. Daniel's jaw clenched. She had no right. Maya shrugged. She's your mother. That doesn't excuse her behavior. Maya watched him carefully. She offered me money. Daniel's eyes darkened. How much? Enough to disappear. Daniel looked genuinely angry now. What did you say? Maya smiled slightly. I said no. Daniel stared at her. You should have told me. And then what? Maya asked. You would fight with your family again? Daniel sighed and ran a hand through his hair. They don't control my decisions. Maya softened a little. I know. Daniel walked closer. Are you all right? Maya nodded. Yes. Then she added quietly. But things feel complicated now. Daniel didn't deny it. Weeks passed. The tension between Daniel and his family grew worse. But Daniel continued visiting Maya regularly. Then one evening everything changed. Maya suddenly collapsed during a routine doctor appointment. Doctors rushed her into emergency care. Daniel arrived within minutes. Now he stood outside the delivery room again. Just like the beginning of this story. The same bright hospital lights. The same terrified feeling in his chest. A doctor finally stepped out. Mr. Park. Yes. The baby is coming early. Daniel swallowed hard. Is Maya okay? We're doing everything we can. Minutes felt like hours. Finally the doors opened. A nurse walked out holding a tiny newborn baby wrapped in a blanket. A healthy boy, she said. Daniel's legs almost gave out. He stepped closer slowly. That's my son. Yes. But Daniel barely looked at the baby. His eyes searched the room until he saw Maya lying on the hospital bed. Exhausted, but alive. Relief crashed over him. He walked toward her. Maya looked up weakly. "Hey," she whispered. Daniel suddenly felt something overwhelming inside his chest. Gratitude, fear, love. Without thinking, he dropped to one knee beside the bed. The nurses gasped. "Maya," he said softly. She blinked in confusion. "What are you doing?" Daniel took her hand. "You gave me more than a child." Maya's eyes filled with emotion. "You gave me a reason to live again." The room fell silent. Daniel's voice trembled slightly as he spoke the words that would change everything. "Please marry me. Be the mother of my kids." Maya stared at him, completely stunned. "Daniel, this wasn't part of the contract." "I know. You're a billionaire," she whispered. "Your family already hates me." "I don't care." Maya searched his face. "You're serious?" "Yes." She laughed weakly through tears. "This is crazy." "Maybe," Daniel admitted. "But it's honest." Maya looked at the baby in the nurse's arms. Then back at Daniel. "If we do this," she said slowly, "it won't be because of the baby." Daniel nodded. "Then why?" Maya smiled gently. "Because somewhere between a contract and a crisis." She squeezed his hand. "We actually found each other." Daniel smiled for the first time in months. And for the first time since the beginning of this strange journey. Their story truly began.